connecting fans around the world is imperative. It's essential.
Ajay, do you remember those dark days of Italian football for us at least?
England focus on every single market, whether they be big or small, and they have done exceptionally well to boost their product.
It's the polar opposite of Italy. You have well structured over here. Outside.
Honest reminder.
This is where we get serious. Pineapple on pizza. Yeah or right?
Monica Bellucci or Sophia Loren?
The best football stadium you visited?
San Siro. Argentina France World Cup final 2022 in Lusail was ridiculous. It was like watching a movie just happen live in front of you. Yeah, Totti is my number one ever.
Hey, dai Roma! Call us up, call us up, call us up.
Namaste ragazzi. Hello and welcome to Calcio Chacha. Today we've got a power-packed episode featuring our Prima Squadra. Let's meet the boys. There's Chintan, who's the voice of the Rossonero. Parameshwar, who supports the Interisti. We've got very special Ajay Menon in the house, who's a hardcore Romanista. And you know, with the millions and millions of the Juve fans that we have in the country, we've also got millions of Milan fans, Inter fans, Roma fans. We've got a singular Napoli fan as well. A very special shout out to Yogesh on this episode of Calcio Chacha. Ciao Yogesh. Okay, so why is this episode special? Today we have in our midst a very special gentleman. He was born and raised in Australia. He then moved back to Italy for the love of football, culture, food. I'm not talking about Bobo Vieri. I'm talking about the even more illustrious Adriano Del Monte. Welcome, Adriano.
Namaste.
But before we go any further, you guys must know this. What makes him so illustrious? Currently working for 7 networks across 5 continents, Adriano has interviewed some of the biggest sporting stars in the world. You name it. Lionel Messi, we have Jose Mourinho, the great Gigi Buffon, Serena Williams, just wow. You wouldn't find a more interesting legendary lineup other than the one that you see here in Calcio Chacha. And nonetheless, but Adriano, before we pass the baton on to you, why don't you tell us a little bit about your time in India, the culture, the food, the people? We'd love to hear.
Firstly, good to see you all. Thanks for having me. Namaste to everyone watching. India has been amazing so far. I'm about halfway into my time here. Been very busy with work. What I have learned very quickly are the similarities between our cultures. Italy and India, it's crazy. This feels like the Italy back home. I felt very home here. There's just so many similarities with the food, the people, the values, and it's been a really easy transition, and I've really enjoyed that. I do need to spend a bit more time to explore the city, which I'll do very soon. But no, really loving the country, the people. Everyone's been so nice and accommodating, and I love this as well, passionate football fans in India. So far so good, and hopefully it only gets better.
Fab. Passione totale, as we like to say here in India on Calcio Chacha. So, you know, straight off the bat, guys, I think this is a question on everybody's mind. You know, we're seeing what's happening at the Euros, especially with the Azzurri. There is a certain duality with the Nazionale. 2 World Cups missed. We win a Euro in the middle of all of that. What is your take, Ajay? Why do you think this is actually going down the way it is?
I don't know. I mean, there are multiple things I would want Adriano to kind of expand on that. Is it because of a lack of youth football, infrastructure, media rights? I don't know. Adriano, if you can just throw a light. I mean, how is this team missing out on 2 World Cups and then winning a Euro in between? It's just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, but it's Italy. There's too many elements in Italy, unfortunately. You've touched on some of the key elements there, but too many elements where there are potential roadblocks caused by ourselves. And a lot of it is in the way that we go about our youth development. A lot of it is in the way that we handle our league. A lot of it is the fact that we limit our visibility outside, and therefore the money isn't coming into the federation, the league, and as a result, we don't have the wealth to develop players like we look at England and Germany and Spain with such a plethora of young talent coming through. So there are multiple key factors there. Obviously, when we look at Serie A, our stadiums are completely outdated. We're losing out on revenue there. We don't have the boldness culturally, which may sound a little silly, but we don't have the boldness culturally to have trust in young players coming through. Therefore, our development of young players is hindered by the fact they don't have chances to play at Serie A at the highest level. We look at Spain, they have Lamine Yamal, who's 16. We look at Germany, who Florian Wirtz now 21, but was playing Bundesliga at 17. They don't exist in Italy. And there are so many of these problems which add up to create one bigger problem. But one thing you can never take away from Italy is that we have a football identity, we have a football culture, and as such, every now and then we win trophies. So it makes no sense that we, on paper, missed the World Cup in 18, missed the World Cup in 22, but won the Euros in the middle. But that's what Italy do. We still had Chiellini, Bonucci, 2 of the all-time greats. We still had a quality squad. We had Verratti, who, for me, is one of the great Italian midfielders, despite not having had the career in Serie A. We still have the footballing identity and we still have the culture that does organically develop these players, but we're not seeing the level of depth that we have seen in the past because we have fallen behind a lot of the other top countries. But these are all points we could discuss individually for hours on end because they are big problems that need to be rectified soon.
Absolutely. In fact, Chintan from Milan, you have Francesco Camarda, who's exciting. And the Azzurri have won at under 15, under 17, under 20 finals, but we still don't have that, I think that factory, right? The talent factory that, say, France produces. Italy still doesn't have it. Why do you think that happens?
It's actually quite shocking, right? We have the players, they have the youth players, they're doing well, under 17 champions, under 19 champions, under 20 finalists. So I think that transition from the, as he said very rightly, that they don't transition well into the senior team. And that's like the biggest problem, right? And only Juventus right now they have an under 23 team. No other club has that. So they get lost in transition, I guess, jumping from the youth team to the senior team. And in that time, do they become invalid as in a mid-club player because their roof does not jump up? They have that margin, but they don't fully utilize their potential. So what can be done? A lot of under 23 team, of course, that requires a lot of money. Somewhere something has to change, right? Something has to change. Can they go outside? A lot of loan deals. Where can this change? Because the production is there.
Well, the problem is in Italy, if you're 25, you're still considered young. People still think Chiesa is young. He is not young. Sadly, he's hurt his knee. Now he's not the same player he was, but he's not young. And this is the problem because for so long, Italy have been blessed with generations of legends. There has been no need to play the 20-year-old. But the 20-year-old has been at Juventus or Milan or Inter or Roma and have had Del Piero, Shevchenko, Ronaldo, Totti to look up to and learn off. So even if they're part of that training camp and that squad, they're still learning and developing. What's happening now is we as a country, as a league, are only bringing in foreigners. More often than not, young foreigners are cheaper than Italian foreigners. Give them a chance, but there is not, because the league has fallen off, there is not the same level of quality at the top of the league, and therefore the younger players are not learning in the league. Then there is the reluctance of the manager, of the staff, to go in a young direction. We saw Bologna this year really commit to a squad that had a nice mix of old and young and experienced and new and fresh, and they were able to put it together, but that's a rarity. And as a result, we are now seeing a Juventus is the best example. 9 Scudetti in a row by Ronaldo, and then, okay, what are they trying to do now? And this is a Juventus squad now that are just trying to sign free players because they have no more money to sign big money signings. Now that is slowly starting to change. We'll see some big players come into Juve this summer, but the reason is it's been 4 years now of Juve in the wilderness. So it is all the attitude that no one wants to take the step to show the faith and confidence in the youth players, and that impacts everyone negatively, national team, the clubs, the league, its future.
Yeah, exactly, because eventually because the state the league is in, unfortunately, they want results, right? So a Milan will not give Kamada that chance in a Champions League game because we want results, we want money. So that's where I think the chance is not coming. They buy in a player thinking, oh, another 20-year-old from outside might be more fruitful than a Kamada and the team.
Which is something that I've never understood. You know, you've got the likes of Allegri at the helm. What has he really done after coming back? 2 year sabbatical. There's just so much pressure on these coaches to deliver titles that they just don't have the trust in the youngsters. And who did he fall back on? Who are the people who saved his job before he got fired? It's Illing Jr. You know, it's the likes of Yildiz who came through. And I think that is the real irony of Italian football. I think though that is changing. You know, you do have coaches who are now thinking afresh. Thiago Motta obviously is someone who you can use as a prime example. I think, like to Adriano's point, this Juve is going to be structured very differently from the ground up. Spalletti is also someone, you know, who has kind of in the past, his time over in the peninsula, whatever he's done, he's always done with youngsters. Which actually brings me, Param, to the next point. Spalletti with this Italian team, he's a bit of a dichotomy. You can't really read him. What do you think is going on there?
It's quite surprising in a way. I wanted to ask Adriano because all these World Cups being missed, winning the Euros randomly, all this randomness is somewhat synonymous with the performances. Do you agree with that sentiment? Because at one point you have certain young players starting, then you see him relying on the old guard suddenly. So what is your take on that? Do you think this Italy is still in a major transition and the real goal is to actually solidify by the 2026 World Cup?
It has to be, because while I say Italy always win eventually sometime, but really to be to the point, they won the Euros with a bit of luck. If the Euros was played in 2020 and there was no COVID, there was no Chiellini. That changes everything. So 2021 was not designed by systems, it was designed by a bit of luck and timing that came our way. Bonucci played at his absolute best, Chiellini was brilliant. There were players who emerged and went to the next level. So yes, there is a feeling back home in Italy that with this Spalletti and with this Italy, there is one eye on 2026. And while I love Italy and I want to see Italy win trophies all the time, that is why there is a bit of ease and not so much pressure on the Azzurri at the current Euros to perform, because it is all about developing these players, giving them some tournament experience. I think it's only 9 of the squad that were there at 2020. El Shaarawy also had 2014 World Cup experience. So these players are short of tournament experience for their country. It's a very different experience. So you cannot expect this team to come and win this Euros. Everything is possible when Italy play, but that is not built by system. What Italy need to do is really take a look at the systems they have in place and build something for the future. Again, like the other top nations have done. Look at France, look at England, look at Spain, look at Germany. There is a system, there is somewhat of an identity there. I'll argue that with England, but they've got the quality of player in their squad that they are capable of building something long term. Whereas 1 Euros and no World Cups in the last couple of years is no system. That's not enough to show for it.
Right.
On that note, I just wanted to add a second part to this question, because you mentioned France, you mentioned Spain. Spalletti said something the other day which annoyed a lot of Azzurri fans. He said that more and more of these young players need to go abroad. It's pretty much they have to do it to take that next step. And I guess he was hinting at someone like a Calafiori, Buongiorno. What is your take on that? Do
do you think he's kind of, hampering the league back home by saying stuff like this? And or do you think these players actually will get better if they go to a Spain or an England or maybe even the Bundesliga? What's your take on that?
I've seen that grab. I haven't seen that full interview, so I don't know exactly in the context he means. But immediately when I hear him say that, he's calling it as it is. The reality is that Serie A, not only on the pitch, but also in terms of training, in terms of quality of play around you. I mentioned all the legends of old in Serie A.
Yeah.
They are no longer there.
Yeah.
So if you put Calafiori in Real Madrid tomorrow,
Yeah.
will he be better there or will he be better at Juventus? He will be better at Real Madrid. He will be playing around champions.
Yeah.
He will be playing alongside the winners. This is what Juve, Milan, Inter, Roma, and all of the Italian clubs were not too long ago.
Yeah.
So I would take it he means from that perspective that Italian football has not as high quality training centres, support staff. This is the level of professionalism that Italy once had that they now don't have. In terms of taking players away and out of the league, I haven't seen the interview in full, but I don't believe Spalletti would want that because he is well aware what success, having just won the Scudetto with Napoli, what success in Serie A can mean for the country, for players, for the fans, and just the population in general. So I don't think it would detract. He wants to detract the quality of Serie A, but I know people in Serie A very well. I know people in top clubs very well. They are very well aware of the fact that the league is not what it was, and that's the point.
Calafiori did go abroad. He went to FC Basel.
Yeah, Basel.
It breaks my heart every time.
It makes you wonder what that deal is all about. 40% on the sale.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because they knew that he's going to become a superstar.
Which is why Bologna is suffering. But also, Adriano, to your point, I think Spalletti really speaks more pragmatically. He's not speaking out of, it's not really a rant. And it's not a random rant. He is speaking the truth and the harsh reality of what is happening in Italy at the moment. And Chintan, that's the part that we were discussing earlier, which is you look at the stadiums. There are only 3 teams in the peninsula that own their own stadiums. It's a great concept for revenue. I don't know why they're not up to speed. It is something that detracts from the Serie A being a made-for-TV product. What's your take, before we throw it back to Adriano, about the bureaucracy? What's your take with the municipality still leading the way and the state of the stadiums?
First of all, I think Milan have been trying to build a stadium for 2,000 years. So many messages the council have approved this plan, and they're going to do it with Inter Milan. They're not going to do with them, and it's been happening forever. And that is the roadblock, right? The project A has been approved, but the municipality rejected it. They've got the plans ready, they got the plot ready, and then the municipality said we need this much percentage of it. So there is no free flow. There's no set system. Okay, this approval we get, and the stadium moves forward.
Right.
I was reading about the Santiago Bernabeu, the new stadium.
Yeah.
Took them just 45 days for approvals.
Yeah, that's insane.
That much I think might just be roadblock 1, especially in India or Italy, I guess. So that is the problem. That's where the problem lies, I think. And now at this moment, to break down the stadium, they don't want to break down San Siro. So there are so many facets to it. And I think before 2,000 years has been for Milan, I think Roma has been 3,000 years, I guess. It started, I think, 20 years ago.
Yeah, from the Colosseum.
Yeah, from the,
And the best part is in Rome, whenever they dig up something, they find something historical. Oh, we can't touch this anymore. It's out of bounds.
Rome is a beautiful place, but everything takes 3,000 years.
Yeah, so that's what point. We've been sharing a same stadium right now, and the pitch suffers.
Yeah, the
That
pitch
how
is
many
one
times
of
we see the pitch suffers because it's a game every weekend, at times 3 days a week,
Yeah.
and you see injuries.
Rugby games as well. In
Rugby.
between, at the Stadio Olimpico, you have rugby as well.
I remember there was a time when Zlatan and co complained about the pitches, and I remember Zlatan and co getting injured as well while playing for AC Milan. So quite a dire situation.
Recently, a few players have done their knees at
Yeah.
the Olympico. Chiesa did his knee there, there have been
yeah.
others as well.
Yeah.
So, but do you see this change anytime? There are new owners. The new owners have coming in.
What will bring about the change? Is it new ownership?
Is it possible? These are the things which you want to clip things up. These are the things
Yeah.
because the problem in Italy is bureaucracy with everything. I come from Australia. What should take 1 day in Australia will take 1 year in Italy, and that's no lying. the problem is this: there are too many people at the top just thinking about themselves. They get their cut, they go home very safely and very happily. But everyone else suffers, but they don't care. And this is what's holding Italian football back, but this is a countrywide problem across the board. It is so frustrating. So you've got Rome and Lazio in the capital, the most beautiful city in the world, the most unique city in the world. They can't even sell it, Serie A. They can't even market the most beautiful city in the world. It's the easiest thing ever. But England can market Burnley as a club, which is, it's crazy. So the stadium is old, it's still magnificent, the atmosphere is amazing.
Yeah.
But the council make money off the stadium. So why would they want to let Roma or Lazio build a new stadium? Because then they don't make the money anymore. So while they're looking at, they're looking at the long term thinking, if Roma and Lazio build new beautiful stadiums, we're going to get even more tourism. We're going to make even more money long term. They only think short term. This is the problem with Serie A. And when people ask me, can Serie A get back to the top of world football? The answer is a clear no. And it's sad, but it's a sad reality. But the way things stand right now is that the bottom team in England, and the reason I keep saying England is because they're the richest league in the world. The bottom team in England make more money than our champion, yet our league don't want to do anything about it because those at the top of the league are still making money. It's a mess, and it really frustrates me because I work in it, and like you guys, very passionate about trying to bring it back to the top, but you get no support from the top because they only think for themselves. So it's a sad reality of the game where it's at, and that's why Spalletti says our young players should go elsewhere and play. He's exactly right.
Ajay,
So what, I'm sorry, what changes that, Adrian? There has to be something that you know, when
Foreign ownership, potentially,
That
with
is
foreign ideas, but the
Right.
problem in Italy is that Italians know better than all. So we saw Commisso by Fiorentina.
Right.
Commisso came into Fiorentina, and you know, I love Americans. I love the American mentality. Dream big, think big, do big, right? But that doesn't work in Italy. And Commisso said, I'm going to build a new stadium. I'm going to give Fiorentina everything. And he's now finally built a training center, which is amazing, but the stadium is still falling down. So you can talk and you can yell and you can scream, but to take action, this is where I say, in Australia, if that made sense, we could start that tomorrow. Florentino Perez at Real Madrid, he can do what he wants. He's got the control. But you come to Italy and try that. No, first we have to speak here, then we have to go for dinner here, and then we have to, everything's a process, and in the end, nothing gets done. And that's why we see very limited marketing of the competition, successful marketing of the competition outside of its own borders.
So it's got to be that. It's got to be world players of the stature of Cristiano Ronaldo making the move back to the league, you know, to take it to the prominence and stature it had in the 90s. Also, I think a big part of what you said with foreign ownership is the fact that those owners are also younger. They have an understanding where modern football is today. It's fast and dynamic. Italy continues to have really old owners, you know, that basically mirror really the bureaucracy that the country is, you know, fighting against at the moment. So when we look at that, I just wanted your last bit on, you know, your 2 cents on what will create a brand for the Serie A to kind of make it, if not a money spinner like the EPL, good enough to just tune into on the telly. Because that's something we struggle with here as well. You know, the state of the stadiums is one aspect. The brand of football is the other. What do you think, you know, cumulatively outside of foreign ownership will kind of create that change?
TV is the key. Because TV is marketing and TV is what sells. And solely the visual on TV, the atmosphere inside every stadium is amazing. It doesn't matter the stadiums are falling down. The atmosphere inside Serie A football is 10 times better than the atmosphere inside English Premier League football.
Correct.
But on the TV, again, let's bring Burnley back into the conversation. Burnley at home against West Ham looks better than Napoli at home against Juventus because the TV visual is very poor. So to enhance the TV visual is the first step. And that could be as simple as ensuring that the side that the TV looks at is full with color.
Correct.
And La Liga do that. They make their spectacle look better than it is. La Liga, no problem. But this is the first step. marketing and selling and showcasing what the country, the league, the culture has to offer, and connecting fans around the world is imperative. It's essential. TV rights is the one I'm most passionate about. This is essential. The media rights directors in Italy, in Serie A, they use an agency that sell the rights to most markets. They look at the money. They don't look at the quality of the broadcaster. And I know you guys know that here because I worked for Sony in India. And Sony in India did 2 wonderful rights cycles, 6 seasons, of some of the world's best Serie A coverage. They literally did studios across the coverage every single week and did a wonderful job. And it was unique because there was no other network in the world, because I worked for them all, that was doing this. Sometimes they'd use me on the ground in Italy, and they always had a studio, and it was wonderful. And they were bringing the viewer in India, where there are 1.5 billion people that live here, closer to the action. The latest rights cycle, Serie A sold the rights to a new network here, which you guys know, that did not even have a platform launched, but they offered a little bit more money. So when the rights were signed, this particular network didn't have a place for you to actually watch the football. And now after 3 years, it's still not that easily accessible for you.
Correct.
And I know that because they have not engaged with me once as someone who works into this country to service a market of 1.5 billion. They have not engaged me once to do anything with them, nor have Serie A been interested in doing anything with this market, which is just baffling. England focus on every single market, whether they be big or small, and they have done exceptionally well to boost their product. So the TV is where it starts and finishes, and ensuring you're engaging with fans around the world is imperative, because the product in Serie A is beautiful. The culture, the football, everything that it has to offer, I feel it's the easiest sell, but they don't even scratch the surface, which is what's holding it back.
You know, actually, Ajay, this is quite funny because we're talking about TV and networks. And do you remember those days, the early 2000s, going on illegal streams, and sometimes Neo had the rights? I still remember one game, we had a small discussion, one of the games where there's WWE going on Neo Sports, and the Milan game was already on, and we were messaging them, listen, why are you not showing the game? The game started, it was 17 minutes up. Ajay, do you remember those dark days of Italian football, for us at least? Tell me, first of all, internet, of course. Tough internet, at times dial up.
The modem.
Old. What was that? First of all, is it the reason that we both have blood pressure? Is it that the reason that we have white hair and blood pressure?
And grey hair.
Yes, of course. Can you just because very few people we meet, I think he's the only odd one out there. The three of us have gone through that.
Yeah.
It's very rare you meet people who've gone through that experience, that.
Man, I mean, just to add on to what Adriano was telling us, so Premier League was still there, right? I mean, you had the early, the late stages of the Man United Arsenal rivalry.
Right.
So the Premier League game, you could watch Bolton Wanderers versus Blackburn Rovers, but you couldn't watch, Milan Juve or a Roma Lazio. So we literally had to struggle. Call up the networks, please show the game. We don't know whether it's on or not. And I mean, right now you have Calafiori's Aura, which is pending. The three of us, watching Maldini, Del Piero, Buffon, Totti, Inzaghi, with the long hair. We grew our hair. We had a headband. This is without a proper TV network. And that's been a part of our story and our journey, right?
Yeah, and I think that isn't that what makes us these hardcore fans, because we saw that. He was a little lucky, came in a little late. But it is so funny because when we talk about all these things, and some people, for them access was so easy, as you said, EPL, it was so easy. It's like, oh, just switch it on. Your team's coming. No, we have to dial it up and something like that. And especially a farewell game, we couldn't see Paulo's farewell game because it's not streamed anywhere. But Param, the biggest question, he touched upon a very important topic. A new network came in with more money, not a final product.
Yeah.
This is the tough spot, right? League wants money, offering more money, but there's no final product. Your Sony was giving a product, but not enough money. Isn't it a tough spot here? Because how do you market this? I know, of course, the new network should take in more effort, but they give more money. The league wants money. League needs money, recycles, good players. It's like a huge cycle,
Yeah.
So money is needed. but product is also needed, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing it with Adriano a while back as well. Like in the current network, it is really a chore to find a stream for even one game. You know, it doesn't pop up on the homepage of the
Search.
Search. You have to literally type in the whole match. You can't. There's no section for Serie A or nothing. You know, it's a struggle, and at the end of the day, you know, you can pay whatever you want, but at the end of the day, if you're not making an effort to market the product, you know, there are fans to this day who ask us, where do we watch the game? Who's the official broadcaster? On all our live streams, they're like, where should I watch the game? Where should I watch, you know, Inter Scudetto celebrations? The Scudetto celebrations were cut in like 10 minutes. You know, all you had, the last shot was Simone Inzaghi lifting it, and that's it. They didn't show anything further. So how are you going to engage with these fans? I mean, you have to show the whole product, right? You have to show we talk about raw emotion in Italian football. You don't show it, you're not going to connect with the fans.
So after 3 years of a new network having the rights, there are still Serie A fans in India who don't know where Serie A is on.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad. That's what my question.
Touch me this up, please send me this because this is.
No, my next question is going to lead up to that.
Yeah.
Back home, back in Italy, do they know?
No.
Are they aware that
No.
in India there are passionate fans like
No,
us?
Yeah.
no, and that's exactly the problem.
You need to bridge that gap.
That is exactly the problem. You need to bridge the gap. And the problem is the question that you raised is, okay, so let's just throw figures out there. One network offers 20, one network offers 25.
Yeah.
Okay? 25 is more than 20. Yes, we need more money, so we take 25. But you have to think long term, not short term. If you think with a short-sighted lens, you're looking at, okay, I get 25 today. But what will that 25 turn into tomorrow?
Yeah.
But if you put 20 in today and you give it the fans and the customers service to the product, it will then become 40 next time. Whereas 25 now becomes 10 next time. It's simple. It's simple mathematics. It's simple sales.
Of course.
And so if you're not investing in the product that you're spending money on, now the rights for the next cycle will be worth much less.
Yeah.
So short-term vision is never the long-term plan.
You know,
for
actually,
success.
this is so funny. And, you know, of course, I've known you for a while before that, but me and Ajay met on that network. They had a show for fans.
fans. Yeah.
That's where we met, actually. And
We
that's
played a
how
tournament as
we
well.
played an official
A fan club, Serie A fan club.
tournament. And, of course, two-time champions. And need to start that.
They're only lucky I wasn't playing for the Juve team.
And one good thing about that network was, you know, they used to always try to mix the Indian football aspect with the Calcio aspect. So you had a person by the name of Novi Kapadia, the late great Novi Kapadia, who was a footballing encyclopedia. You know, you had him covering Italian football, and that made all the sense. That brought in new viewers, casual viewers. So all that is lost currently.
Yeah, you know, it's sad, but moving on to our dear Azzurri,
Yes,
Spalletti.
I
You know,
think we need to come back to that.
you know, my only biggest question in the room is, I feel is, we all loved how Napoli played.
Yeah.
It was, I think the only problem was the margin of victory, right? They almost touched 100. Okay, we were only worried, oh, what is going to be the margin of the victory? You know, that's Spalletti's Napoli. Of course, I know he has one eye on 26 World Cup. My question is the time to experiment when you're touching knockouts? Of course, we all want our dear Azzurri to win. I know your one eye is there, but do you think it's the time to, like a 3-5-2 or 4 at the back? He was pretty, you know, sure about his back 3, then he moved to back 4 and back 3 again. Where is it going, man?
Well, I think it's really funny because Spalletti to me has been somebody who's, I'm on the fence about him. You know, I've seen him do great at a club level. He's been around for ages now. And my first impression has been, he's been at the Azzurri now for 10 months. That is substantial time to figure out exactly how you want to approach a tournament like this, especially after missing a couple of World Cups. He still doesn't have it down pat on paper. And it just makes me question whether really he is more of a club coach and he needs that day-to-day interaction. Maybe he's not cut out for the Nacional. That said, this tournament has been everything that, you know, his career has led him to. And I think this team specifically, if the ideas are implemented, you know, I do think that they can go beyond the round of 16. It is not, a fairy tale in my mind. I do think that they can go far.
Yep.
Spalletti has not shown himself to be a man manager thus far. Do you think that's going to change, Adriano?
I'm a bit with you. Still, it's the learning phase for Spalletti and feelings about him. It's happened so quickly because he had that success at Napoli, which is historic and will go down in history. And obviously, I covered almost every one of their matches in the run-in and was there, and you could physically see how visibly tiring it was for he and the players. Napoli is the most unique footballing city in the world. There is nowhere like it. And it is football 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no stop. Their whole identity in that city is football. And for Spalletti, he wanted that break after the success. I think also he thought, once I've won in Napoli, there's nowhere else to take it. The season after could not be a success, and it was proven that it was a disaster. So I think everything has happened very quickly. So while it has been 10 months, I still don't feel like he's settled into the role. I just don't feel that he's settled in. I think he has the attributes to be a top international coach. But again, with everything we've discussed, this is a squad that is short of an identity. This is a squad that lacks, well, I think if we said right now, what is our best Italy 11 today, it would be different. Everyone would be different. So, and okay, we're not the experts. Spalletti is the coach, but the fact that there is no clear-cut 11, there's no clear-cut identity, that's why there is that bit of a one eye on 26 getting back there. Because the other element with missing World Cups is, while we won that Euros in the middle, the problem with missing a World Cup is that when 2026 comes around, Italy have not been in a World Cup for 12 years. Wouldn't have won a knockout game at a World Cup since 2006. 20 years. Now, my entire childhood, I remember where I was and when watching every Italy World Cup. Yes, the Euros, but the World Cup is the big party. That's where you want to be. So we've also in this period lost young Italian football fans in Italy and around the world to loving the Azzurri, playing at these tournaments, hearing that national anthem, which also impacts youth participation in football, youth interest in football, youth interest in Serie A. So all the problems we've discussed, Italy not making World Cups has more of an impact on that than we think. So Spalletti's role to bring some calm, some focus, a winning mentality, having just won with Napoli, I think is imperative to this 3-year process of getting Italy back to where they belong. Because missing the next World Cup would be a disaster. And we've seen bad appointments in the last years, with Ventura particularly, where there was no one else available, put him in. This was, for me, a tactical selection to put someone who's calm, level-headed. When he speaks, he's always very calm, very patient. And I think there's that element to Spalletti as well, which will hold the national team in good stead with this view to getting back to the World Cup in 26.
So are we expecting that level of karma, if they make it, they don't make it tonight at the time of recording, we are Italy, Switzerland. Do you think that the powers that be are going to have patience with Spalletti and have that vision map and say, build for 2026? Or do you think it's going to be maybe at times a classical knee-jerk reaction?
No, well, if Zaccagni doesn't score that 90th minute goal, Italy are out.
Correct.
So I don't think so. Look, I think getting to the knockouts is a tick, because again, this squad is short of the quality that saw Italy win a few years ago. But I tell you now, at time of recording, if Italy knock out Switzerland tonight, and I think they will, deep penalties, late extra time, Italy can go to the final. And that's just, again, culturally what Italy do. Italy have this way of, there is a unity, it's the culture. In Italy, it's all about people, it's all about coming together. It's all about, siamo pronti alla morte in the national anthem. We are ready to die. They are literally ready to die for the shirt. There is so much love and passion and fire for the country. And that's what separates Italy from the other countries that play with a style because they've got money and they're developing players. Italy, doesn't matter who puts on that shirt, there's always a chance. We saw it at Euro 2016. Conte had potentially the worst Italian team ever. Lost on penalties to Germany. Germany have never beaten Italy in a competitive match at a tournament ever. And this was a penalties, which is still technically not a win.
Not a win.
So there's something about Italy which cannot be put into words, that there is always a chance. I think Switzerland will be tough, but I think they'll get through, and then there's a big chance of anything happening. Can they go to the final and win?
Anybody's guess.
Anybody's guess. But Spalletti is bringing something behind the scenes that is giving this team the best chance to put their best foot forward, because on paper, it's not a squad that matches our squad of a few years ago.
100%. Which actually, Param,
Yeah, so you spoke of the group spirit and everything and how it's been carrying Italy, but what's the fine line there? Because when I see Spalletti, I kind of agree with DJ here that there's some sort of confusion in his in-game management. There's no clarity. He's trying to force this singular approach which he had at Napoli, which doesn't really suit everyone. So at what point do you look and say, oh, this guy needs to adapt? And when does that happen? Because for me, you still need to somewhat do. You're pretty much against a country who's set a standard, in major tournaments in the form of Switzerland. So this is the perfect test. So when does Spalletti grasp this notion that, what, I need to take a step back, I need to adapt and maybe look at the strengths of certain players?
Spalletti is a very stubborn manager.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change in this tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe post-tournament, it's time to reflect before the next window in September, and that's when those changes will come. He will live or die by what happens here based on what he wants to do. That's known. I think the view of hiring Spalletti with the view of it's a project means that we have to have patience with him. But I agree that you have to have that adaptability, that tactical flexibility. If you don't, you're only hindering yourself. But the reality is, again, if we name our 11s now, none will be the same. Maybe we'll have a back five, a back three, a back four. It's very hard to say, because on one hand, we know how Spalletti plays his best football, but on the other hand, this squad does not match that, particularly in attack. We just lack that quality. He doesn't have Kvaratskhelia or Osimhen that he had at Napoli. It's a very difficult debate to have. So is he trying to get minutes into players because he sees them as the future? Probably not. He's just stubborn to play his way of football. But I think the reflection will come post-tournament. And I think the plan, and I think it's the right plan, stick with him for the cycle, because it's a manager coming off some success. Yes, he's stubborn, but if his ideas can translate, and we can have some young players coming through, maybe a Camarda is a bit too young, but if these players can start to integrate into the Italian setup in the next 2 to 3 years, that's when we'll see the rewards and the benefit of the commitment to a plan. But we're in the very early stages. That's why I think 10 months in, it's happened very quickly. He needs a little bit more time. But obviously, big questions will start to be asked. If failed to beat Switzerland and struggle in the early World Cup qualifiers, okay, now there are problems. But I think he still has some time to get it right.
So keeping the 2026 vision map, okay, just Italy. I'm gonna use the Euros as a launching pad for a couple of teams. Croatia's at the end of a cycle. Just broadly, guys, I want to start with Chintan. And then we'll come to you, Ajay. Just, in terms of the teams that have really impressed you, and you feel like, to Adriano's point, there are teams with a little bit of a vision map for 2026.
Vision map, I don't know, but the team which has impressed me the most is Austria. I think they've been very, very interesting to watch. It's Rangnick's, he has his structure. Ralph's team, it is his team. They've played so well. They have looked like a team who can really cause an upset. You can't call it an upset. I really rate them very highly, actually. But I'm going to go to that extent that they can do a Denmark. And I think they can do it. They can win it because they have a structure. He knows what players play in what position. I think his biggest mistake was not starting Baumgartner in the last game. That's why Sabitzer had to be pushed up. But I think Austria being a very, very attractive team, the way they play. But I'll go on the other side of the spectrum. A team which has disappointed me the most is, sorry to say, it's been France actually. No goals in the open play, the number of players they have here. So I think it's such and of course they're on Azzurri's side. Austria has been on Azzurri's side. So an Italy-Austria semi-final would be a very mouth-watering semi-final. But very impressed by that. Otherwise, it seems like it's anyone's Euros. Portugal do have glimpses here and there. Host nations have done so well, but of course Switzerland was a bit of a roadblock there. Spain, very interesting with the B team also, they did so well. So yeah, for me, it's been Austria, sorry. Austria would be happy.
So your views on just the way the tournament has shaped up, right? I also, if you see the way the brackets are stacked, you've got all the powerhouse teams on one side of the bracket.
Yeah.
You're going to have the dark horse emerging from the other. What are your views in terms of the way this Euro has shaped up? Two, of course, which team really has impressed you?
I think the Euros have been quite exciting. I see some people talking about, the third spot thing shouldn't be a thing because, some people play a too safe a game and qualify for the next round. But I think that's sort of needed, otherwise these countries won't get a chance. But I think in terms of entertainment, we have got someone like Georgia who have completely trumped, everyone's expectations, and it's been very impressive to see that. But I think I agree with Chintan. I see Austria as being quite impressive because Rangnick has built somewhat like a club system over there. You have a lot of players playing in the same league. It's very synonymous with how a club runs, and it's very polar. It's the polar opposite of Italy. You have a well-run structure over here, and you have an Italy that's figuring things out. And
Don't need to remind us.
and apart from that, I'd like to give a shout out to Calzona, of course, the former Napoli coach, who's doing a good job at Slovakia. I think he's gone on to show that what happened at Napoli is not really his fault, and I hope he can do a number over England. A very good tactician. I hope he can pull off a miracle. So yeah, it's pretty much Austria and Slovakia for me.
I think for me it's as Chintan mentioned, the Spanish national team, they're at the start of a new cycle. They've given up the tiki-taka that we've been used to.
Yeah.
They've been so successful, and without it, they were a bit lost over the last few years. I see Spain playing direct football. Nico Williams running with the ball. Lamine Yamal, we all know how good he is. Alvaro Morata, he gets so much of flack, but he was brilliant at the first two games. I think it's refreshing to see Spain in this new avatar. Very, very, I don't think so any team will take them lightly. Also quite impressed by Austria as well. The major disappointments have to be Belgium because the kind of talent that they possess.
Hasn't that always been the case?
See, Romelu Lukaku is still a Roma player until...
Full marks for consistency. Belgium are always consistent. They know how to let you know.
It's quite disappointing because now, obviously, Hazard has gone from there. So, the focus is on De Bruyne. He's a star now. I thought Belgium will do slightly better, but they've disappointed me again. Sad to see.
Adriano, let's just come back, okay? So we weighed in on what the Azzurri have been about in this Euro. What are the teams that have really caught your eye and impressed you with, keeping an eye on 2026 and also, of course, in this tournament?
I like Spain. Spain, obviously the Spain-Italy game could have been 5-0 on another game. So disappointing to lose that with an own goal, but Spain deserved the points. And I actually, if I have to pick right now, I think Spain will go to the final, which is remarkable because I did have a Portugal-France final was my prediction pre-tournament. But I think Spain looked the best. Spain-Germany quarter-final will be magic.
All-watering.
And I do think if Italy can get past Switzerland, Italy can go to the final. Could be a repeat of 2012, but I'd have Spain winning that. But look, in terms of the stories, Georgia was one. I tipped them as a dark horse, Georgia. I liked them in the group. Didn't think they'd beat Portugal. But, I mean, the Georgia story is exactly why UEFA expanded the Euros.
Exactly.
And that's where you think, okay, maybe not a bad decision. Do I like a 24-team tournament? No. It's ridiculous. Ukraine 4 points. They got eliminated, first team ever. But it is what it is. Georgia go through wonderful. I also had Switzerland as a dark horse, and I think Switzerland played very good football. And this game, Italy-Switzerland, will be a great game. It'll be a very defensive and low-scoring game, but it'll be a great game for that reason. But overall, Spain is definitely the pick of the bunch. You're spot on. They've turned over their entire squad. They are new, they are fresh, they are hungry, and they have a new identity very quickly. What I love about Spanish football clubs, the country, at every level, they play the same football. It could be under 13 boys, under 13 girls. They play the same style of football in the same system. So when they are ready to integrate into the first team at Barcelona, Real Madrid, the national team, they know exactly what is expected of them. And Spanish football is so consistent for that reason. And it wasn't the case because if we recall, before they won those 3 trophies in a row, they had never won. They weren't winners. They had problems in their squad with the Barca Madrid players. They've figured it out. And they have done what Belgium have never been able to do, Netherlands have never been able to do. Always talent, but they don't win. England, this is the thing which I really admire and respect about Spain, and there's also a lot of respect between Italy and Spain as well. So
Historically.
Spain for me is definitely the one to watch, and I think that side of the draw is going to be very special.
It is. I think every game here on in is going to feel like a final, worthy of a final. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Guys,
You
so,
didn't give yours, yeah?
it's kind of hard just having grown up supporting Italy so hardcore since Italia 90. And for me, really, it's always been, my blinkers have been on when it comes to Italy. But I think over the last maybe decade, I feel the emergence of France has been very impressive, though they have been the biggest letdown in this tournament for me personally. Absolutely stacked team, guys. Like stacked. It's
They could
just
put 3 teams
incredible.
out.
Yeah.
But I tend to kind of agree with Adriano and Ajay. For me, I think what Spain has done to kind of move away from tiki-taka, still play that vertical direct football, very impressive. Also, I think they're carrying that Basque mentality now. De La Fuentes. And I think that is going to, keeping one eye on the 2026 World Cup, Spain is definitely the team to watch out for. Look, Williams and Yamal, the way they're going to mature after this tournament, I mean, they're set up so beautifully.
You can never imagine a 16-year-old playing for the national team. Forget club football in Italy.
Absolutely, in Italy, unheard of.
We had a watch along for Italy versus Spain, and we were discussing that on the watch along, trying to pass the ball from the back against a team whose roots are that, right?
Yeah.
As he said rightly, they play that football from the under 13s, under 12s. You can't outplay them in their own backyard, and that is where I feel Italy missed out a little bit, go a little direct on them. I don't think the Italians wanted the ball at their feet. I think they were releasing the ball quickly. I think that is where the game, trying to pass it from the back, you can't outplay Spain in their own game, right? And it was very frustrating to watch that game. Though we were all disappointed with an own goal, but as he rightly said,
Do you know Spalletti's stubbornness has caused me to get grey hair in my teenage years? Because, we had Spalletti for so many years at Roma. It's just so stubborn, man.
so I guess that we were so frustrated in the watch along, and watch along everything is recorded, right? And it's right there for us. And we were like, why are you passing from the back still? But because Spain is pushing so much. But I guess that's, as he said, that's a quirks, and we're not going to see any changes, at least in this Euros. So
I think we need to tweak the watch along, format. Every time we're playing the likes of Spain, it's
listen, I think Ajay has a
watch along.
theory. I think Spalletti watches a watch along, and he messes with us.
Yeah, he messes with
The
us.
minute we say that this is going to happen, that the tactics are changed. So Adrian, I think he watches our watch along our lives. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to move on to a little bit of fun now. Let's have a little bit of fun. Adriano, we're going to put you on the spot. It's what we call the rapid fire. Treat it like a penalty shootout, if you will. Let's do it. It's going to be some fun questions thrown your way. Let's see if you are able to keep them like Gigi would. Okay, so who's shooting first? Is it Ajay or Chintan?
I think Chintan, you go
Okay.
first. Senior.
Okay.
I'm
Putting
putting 4 on the group also, your question.
Yeah. You can do that. Yeah, you can do that.
sure.
Let's start with probably the most serious question: the best football stadium you've visited.
San Siro.
I like that.
Do you
Call
need
us,
an explanation?
call us up.
San Siro is number one. I work there every second week on the pitch, and it never, ever, ever gets old. It is the most beautiful stadium with the most beautiful atmosphere in the world for me.
Okay. Best match you've seen live.
Well, look, Argentina France World Cup final 2022 in Lusail was ridiculous. It was like watching a movie. Just happened live in front of you. But best match emotionally live,
Emotionally.
I could give you 50,000. But no, it has to be Italy, England at Wembley, the Euro final 2021, because it was no Italians in the stadium. There were 75,000 English, and it was an unbelievable experience. I've never heard the stadium so silent at full time after the penalties. Very special. Amazing.
And Panucci going to every camera in the stadium.
It's coming to Rome, yeah.
It's coming Rome.
Always good to have one up over the English.
Yeah, always. Most famous celebrities number on your phone.
Oh, good question.
We have our club aficionados here, so choose the right answer, Adriana. Just one, top of your head.
there's a
Rapid fire. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
Rapid fire.
Die.
Gianluca Zambrotta comes to mind straight away.
Oh, nice. Unexpected. Totally unexpected. Okay, now we all support each one club, of course. I'm going to ask you favorite player from each club. Favorite player from Roma ever.
Totti.
Inter Milan.
My favorite player ever.
Yeah, your favorite player. Yeah.
No, but Totti is my number one ever.
Hey, dai Roma.
Call us up. Inter Milan ever to have donned the jersey. AC Milan,
Shevchenko.
Juventus.
Del Piero. I know these guys personally, so I have to.
I was just going to say, better name Del Piero. I think he's a close friend of yours.
Del Piero, Vieri lives 50
He's
meters.
also our next guest, so say nice things about him.
Absolutely. Oh, legends. There's too many. These questions.
You know, and this is a very fun question, yeah? If you could ever watch one Serie A match from history live, like just one, top of your head.
Go back in time.
Go back in time.
Any match, like recorded or any match you think, oh, I wish I was.
Serie A with an Italian club.
Italian.
Italian club, yeah.
Well, hang on. If Italy national team, I was too young to be at the World Cup final in 2006. I would definitely pick this one because I would love to see Italy win a World Cup. That's the last thing I need to tick off. Serie A, maybe Roma winning the Scudetto.
Roma Parma 3-1.
Roma Parma 3-1.
You have some fun questions
This
too,
one.
right?
Yep. I've watched that.
So you
that
can do
replay a
the
million
quiet
times, the
ones,
whole
right?
game.
Yeah.
You can do quiet ones. Right? Oh, another. Most interesting question and a very serious one. Okay, this is where we get serious. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay? You have one, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, one more interesting one. Probably you might have to rack your brain a little bit. Describe Italian football in one word.
Good question. Very good question. Italian football in one word is passion.
Perfect. Sounds like a great answer. That's what we were looking for too.
Passionate.
And this is a very fun question. Most iconic crest in Italian football, which you have liked, can be the old one.
Yeah.
Because Juventus, so many teams have changed it. So
The Roma. The
Roma.
Lupetto.
Yeah.
sounds good.
Roma.
According to you, best football coach, current era and ever, whatever you can say.
Italian or anyone?
Can be anyone. You can pick one Italian and one.
No, like I love Ancelotti, and again, it's also a bit of bias working with them more recently in the last 5-6 years being in Italy, and just Ancelotti's aura, to use the word, but he's just how cool he is in the key moments. It's crazy. I've interviewed him after particularly Champions League quarterfinals, semi-finals, and he's just so chill and
Calm,
relaxed, and you wouldn't think he's just coached an epic semi-final in the Champions League. So Ancelotti for me, past, present, future, is someone I'd take every day of the week.
Wow. A stadium which you've not visited, you'd like to visit?
I've been to many.
Yeah.
It's where I haven't been to. No, some of the English ones actually, because I often work covering Champions League in every other country but England, because there are a lot of reports.
Anfield,
sort of do
maybe?
my job there. Old Trafford is falling down, but I've never been. So I would like to see Old Trafford. Obviously, Manchester United, huge club. Maybe Old Trafford.
No, one question on Ajay's behalf. Can Brighton win Serie A?
You know, I'm not even going to use or waste any oxygen on this.
No, because
question.
you know what? Because there was a match. Please, Ajay, can you just...
No, I know the clip.
Yeah, the clip,
Don't
the
worry,
clip.
I know the
Yeah,
clip.
That's just right before the Roma Brighton game, you know.
No, I made sure that they knew that this was the most. No. It's, you know, we've discussed a lot about the marketing and lack of marketing. It's this and channels like this which work against us even more, because there are people who legitimately believe that.
Yep.
Legitimately
you're
believe
right.
It's
that.
not a joke.
It's not a joke. But then they
Scary.
call it as a joke when it
Yeah,
happens.
well,
4-0.
4-0 and then.
He did get back to that, right?
Yeah, he said he's
Yeah.
just
Said
messing
it was
around.
a
He's
joke.
joking.
Yeah.
Said, no, maybe top 4. This is what we do.
Soon to be other.
Yeah.
Save your air.
Okay, so yeah, Adriano, also you cover all sorts of sport. And there is a question worth asking to you, in your mind, the greatest athlete of all time. Unico.
Yeah, again, I'm in any sport ever. Look, mentality. I love basketball. I love Jordan, Kobe Bryant mentality. Crazy. Tom Brady, NFL. They're another level of beast. But the current day star who, for me, has that not many have ever had is Novak Djokovic.
I was just going to say.
And again, biased because I've worked with him a lot and built a nice relationship with Novak, and he is your everyday person doing amazing things. And so he gets judged and criticized because he has different views that go against the norm, but that to the side, that's got nothing to do with the athlete, the person that he is. And he is remarkable, very inspiring, and I've been able to build a nice relationship with him because he just keeps things very real, and you're inspired by someone who's young and hungry, and despite now being in the latter years of his career, still wants more. And so he, for me, embodies everything that makes nothing can be perfect, but a perfect athlete.
Fair play. And I think one question that's really important, and I think, most people would want to ask you this. Monica Bellucci or Sophia Loren?
No, it's impossible. You can take both. No.
You're old school.
One.
We're old school, right?
No, Monica.
Monica. Well,
Monica.
all right.
Would
What's
go-
the
You can't
Monica?
really go wrong there, though.
Yeah, you can't.
Can't
Exactly.
go wrong, yeah.
You can't.
Your choice?
Monica. Yeah. I'm married, but
Yeah, see, but it doesn't matter.
just letting
I'm
it.
talking hypotheticals.
Okay, so now we're going to play this fun game, okay? That was a fabulous rapid fire. So we're going to give you a striker, and you've got to stay silent till you hear a striker better than that,
Okay.
okay? So your base striker is Batistuta. I'm going to say names, and you're going to have to keep quiet till you think there's a player better than that from this list.
What do I do when I hear a better one?
You can say, yeah, he's
You
better.
can say
Yeah.
he's better.
Let's do it.
Okay? So Batistuta or Rooney? Batistuta or Torres? Batistuta or Luis Suarez? Batistuta or Lewandowski? Batistuta or Roberto Baggio? Okay.
Baggio.
Yeah, okay. It came a little early. I was going to ask you one more. Batistuta or R9? The OG Ronaldo.
Can I talk? No, because I've mentioned to you guys the other day, but Roberto Baggio is in every Italian player's opinion that played with him, past and present. Well, obviously, not too many left that played, but I mean, this is someone who they believe is one of the greatest players in history and played football with no knees and was still one of the best players ever. So Ronaldo Fenomeno is ahead of Baggio, but Baggio had the ability to be the same, if not even much better than Ronaldo. So I'll take Ronaldo, but Baggio is
Yeah.
my number one when it
Yeah.
comes to Italy.
I tend to agree with that also. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up, guys.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
there's one
We
more
have the
section.
formation though.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
So
we need to. Can we just cut in because I need to just make some space?
No, just do it.
Sure.
I'll do it.
So
Sir,
pick it
first-
up and just block.
Just tell him what you're doing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So his
So
formation and his.
So Adrian, I'm going to go all ill-misted in the
Yeah.
tactical board,
do it.
and I want you to name your best 11.
Okay.
Okay, so starting with the formation, like how do you want to 3 at the back, 4 at the back?
We're talking Italy national team.
Just in
No,
general.
any general,
Any-
your
any-
favorite 11.
Your best
Greatest
players.
all-time 11.
All-time 11.
Any countries?
Any
Yeah.
countries.
Any system, any countries.
Oh, okay. Oh. Okay, well let's put Gigi in goal
Okay.
to start with. all-time 11. We can put Paulo at left back.
Okay.
Has to be.
Let's put Baresi.
Yeah.
Let's put Beckenbauer.
Okay. Il Kaiser.
The late great Kaiser.
You know, I'm very close to Roberto Carlos as well, and he should be in there.
Oh, it's a hard one.
Do we have any names?
No, it's okay. He
It's going
missed.
to be Paulo. Yeah.
Right. And let's put Pirlo in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. What are we going to do here? We're going to have four.
Up to you.
Let's put in. Well, we need the four greats, don't we?
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Cristiano, Messi, Maradona, Pele.
Ah,
We need to, don't we?
Okay.
stacked team.
Messi.
Let's put.
Messi on the left, I think.
Now Messi on the right.
Let's put Messi on the right, Ronaldo,
On the 7.
yeah,
On the left.
on the left. Let's put Maradona in the middle and
Middle.
Pele
Wow.
up top. Who's the right back?
Your Cafu.
I love Cafu.
Di Lorenzo if we left it to Spalletti.
Let's put Cafu. Grande Cafu.
4-1.
I love Pirlo, okay. I love Pirlo. So we need one more beside
Yep.
Pirlo, no?
Zizou.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah,
attacking
yeah.
men.
Yeah.
Can't have a team with us. I don't know.
Xavi,
Xavi,
Not that
Iniesta.
I know. I put Pirlo there straight away, but he could be replaced. But
This is your 11, so your favorite 11.
yeah, no, let's put Zidane there. Count. Zidane is amazing. That's a good team.
That's it.
That's a good team. It's a very good team.
Oh, wow.
That's my 11.
That's winning the Euros.
Yeah,
That's winning the Euros, yeah, for sure.
I'd hope so. That's my team. That's beautiful.
That's amazing.
That's fabulous.
Okay. So, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Adriano, what a pleasure it has been to be in our midst. You know, it's a very special thank you. I know you're recording today for you to take this time out and do this with us. We really, really appreciate it. Grazie mille. The guys, closing statements from you all, and then I want like Adriano to sign off for us. So, Chintan, let's just start with you. Why don't you tell us what this episode felt like for you, and then we'll move on to Param.
It was amazing, you know, the anticipation to the episode, and a great thank you to you, you know, we reached out to you and you were so cordial about it, and it's been absolutely amazing, you know, we've been supporting the Italian national team and our respective clubs for so long, and we felt we were the only ones here. Individually, I think all of us thought, oh, who's going to support AC Milan in India at least? But thank you for reaching out. You were the voice for us also. You know, you could go back to your country and get a word there that we have a passionate bunch of Calcio supporters in India.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that.
Pleasure.
And I echo Chintan's thoughts, because I remember when I saw the ad first of you coming down, I told Ajay bhai that, you know, we have to approach him because there's no one else, you know, we can really reach out to and then, you know, get this on a bigger stage. So we just appreciate you coming down and helping us out, and, you know, keep up the good work, because Calcio needs this for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the sentiment that I resonate as well. Just, you know, flying the flag for Calcio in general.
Yeah.
We're eternally grateful that, you know, you're covering Serie A,
Yeah.
and hopefully, you know, the Asia market, the India market, you know, opens up for Italy and Serie A to grow and probably rub it up, you know, along with the Premier League, hopefully.
What you actually, in that podcast, you called us what? What are we? The Avengers?
The Avengers of Italian football.
Cinque Fratelli.
Cinque.
Adriano, your thoughts, closing thoughts.
Oh,
please.
pleasure, guys. Please keep up the great work, because there is the league, the country, the culture, and everything there is to offer. There's so much. The sell is easy.
Yep.
It's easy to draw in new fans, but collectively we just need to do more. And you know, to come here and listen to you guys share your stories of growing up and watching football on streams and how you came to love these clubs is inspiring, because, you know, football in Italy is not limited to just Serie A in Italy. There is a world of fans out there. So it's very refreshing to see fans as passionate outside of Italy as they are in Italy. So continue doing great work. We will do some more stuff together in the future for sure. And anytime you want to do more and I can be of assistance, you can always reach out. But it's been a great pleasure.
Oh, it's
Thank you. Grazie.
amazing.
Grazie.
Grazie.
Pleasure, guys.
Thank you.